What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are having an amazing day. So, the Menendez brothers has been the topic of conversation in social media and all throughout pop culture for quite a while. If you guys remember, they unalived their parents due to allegations of SA. And back when it happened, I know Rosie O'Donnell had a show, but she said essentially that nobody believed them. Like nobody believed that their father, was this monster that was harming these two boys, or that their mother turned a blind eye. I, after listening to, and I, you know, didn't hear everything, but I believe them. I believe their story. Um, a lot of people are split, in regards to how they handled it. And I don't think, of course, I don't condone unaliving anybody. I don't condone violence. Um, but I feel like because they were, um, essentially not believed, right? They came from a wealthy background. Their father was, a wealthy, powerful man. And we've seen just now a lot of, victims of SA, whether it's Diddy or, any type of harm um, when it comes to rich and powerful men. A lot of their victims are saying that they just, knew that they wouldn't be believed. So I don't know. A lot of people are split, and it's interesting because a lot of these um, kids, or young people who have essentially taken their parents out, and I'm thinking like Gypsy Rose, Jeanette McCurdy from um, the Disney show. She played Sam, and she was a child star on, it was Nickelodeon, it wasn't Disney. But she wrote a book. She said, and it was titled, "I'm Glad That My Mom, essentially passed away." I can't use certain words on YouTube, but that was a bestseller. And then, of course, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she got out and she blew up on social media and got all these brand sponsorships. And so there's such notoriety, right? Kim Kardashian has, entered the chat, and she has been advocating for the Menendez brothers to be released. And so the district attorney now in LA has recommended resentencing. So I'm going to read you guys this article from ABC News. It says Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon has recommended resentencing for Lyle and Eric Menendez, who are each serving life in prison without parole. We're going to recommend to the court that the life without the possibility of parole be removed, and that they will be sentenced for M, which would be a sentence of 50 years to life. Garcon said on Thursday, but because of their age, they were both under 26 at the time of the crimes, they will be eligible for parole immediately. The final decision will be made by the judge, and the parole board must also approve, as the brothers' family and Eric Menendez's wife looked on. Oh, he's married. That's interesting. Well, they got a whole show, Love After Lockup, so okay, good for him. Garcon said that he hopes to get a hearing on the docket within the next 30 to 45 days. He says, "I believe that they paid their debt to society," noting that the brothers have been behind bars for nearly 35 years. Now, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that they have paid their debt to society because any crime, and this is just my opinion, I think after like 30 years, I think would pay your debt to society. But that's just me, right? Now it's interesting that they committed these crimes when they were 19 and 21. And I thought before looking into it that they were younger, because I'm thinking, legally they were both adults, right? They could have left at 18. And so that will be one of my questions, right? Like, why didn't they leave um, the house at 18 and, begin from the ground up, essentially, right? Getting a small studio apartment, living together, pooling their money and their resources until they could build something better, instead of taking that, you know, vengeance essentially out on their parents. But trauma, it rewires your brain, literally. Healing does too, though, by the way. I don't want to leave it on a negative note. Healing does too, but you know, victims who have PTSD, CPTSD, which the C stands for complex. Um, Neurologically, things happen that some people, they snap. I mean, there's battered woman syndrome, and again, back when this happened, and I was little. I'm trying to think. I was little when this happened, but people were just not willing to believe that men could be harmed in such a, an intimate way, brutalized way. And it was horrific circumstances. Garcon's recommendation follows pressure from the brothers' relatives, attorneys, and supporters in the public. Garcon told ABC News this month that any recommendations for resentencing would take into account the decades that the brothers had already served and their behavior behind bars. The brothers' attorney called them model prisoners who worked tirelessly to reform themselves with no expectation that they'd be released. And that's another thing, right? So their original sentence was life without parole. And, the US, man, like our country we have the highest incarceration rates in the entire world. We lock up more people for longer than anywhere else in the entire world. Like, our penal system is so punitive. Our justice system is so punitive. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not excusing what they did, because in my opinion, there is no reason for violence. They should have called the police, or like I said, they really should have left the day they turned 18, or whoever the oldest son is. I would have taken my younger sibling, and we would have hit the road. But that's me. But again, like I said, it's unfortunate they felt like they had no other recourse than to do this. So at least that's according to their testimony. But they didn't just get their father, the perpetrator, out of here. They took their mom out too for her negligence. They said that she was complicit. She knew what was going on and turned a blind eye, which I'm sure that was even more devastating. But yeah, it's tough to imagine the mindset or the psyche of what you know they endured. Um, but there's no reason for them to take matters into their own hands, the law into their own hands, unfortunately. But 35 years is, in my opinion, that's like a life sentence, especially since they were so young. I agree with the LA prosecutors that I feel like their debt has been paid to society. Although other people are saying, it's because of privilege, and because, their family had money and resources, and this wouldn't happen if they weren't, so famous and well known, and Kim Kardashian wasn't, backing their case. So two things can be true at the same time. While incarcerated, the brothers focused on creating groups to deal with how to address untreated trauma, creating groups to deal with other inmates who had physical disabilities and may be treated differently. Even in one case, Lyle negotiated for other inmates to the conditions that they live under. All this was done by two young people. Now they're not so young. They had hopes, they had no hopes initially of ever getting out of prison. Garcon said his message to the brothers is, "We appreciate what they've done while they were in prison, and while I disapprove of the way they handled you know, their harm that came to them, we hope that not only have they learned, which they appear that they have, but that if they get reintegrated into our community, that they continue to do public good." There is no excuse for unaliving people. I do believe that the brothers were subjected to a tremendous amount of dysfunction in the home and um, intimate acts of violence against them. I don't believe that M would have been the appropriate charge, given the premeditation that was involved. He added, "That's true. It was premeditated. Yeah, because it took two of them. So, but you know, it says this is the family that knows them. The family believes that 35 years is enough, and they hope that the brothers will receive a fair hearing." So, I agree. I'm not gonna lie. I think 35 years. Again, this is just my opinion, but you serve 35 years of your life. Life is short. Period. 35 years, especially your youth, I feel like their debt has been paid, but that's just my opinion. You guys, what are your thoughts? Do you think that their debt has been paid to society, or do you think that they're getting out because of the notoriety and the privilege? Let me know in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.